All right, we in, we in. What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? Y'all come on in, come on in, come on in. Come on in. We got to talk about it. We want to go back over this game. We want to recap and man, we want to I think our stress levels are down now, so I think we're ready to rock and roll with it tonight. So come on in, come on in, come on in. How's everybody doing this evening? Come on in. I hope everybody had a good day. We got them coming in. I hope everybody had a good day. We just kind of want to briefly recap this game. Me and Jay Walk talk about it. You see, Brian, what's up, my man? What's up, Big B? All the way from Alabama. What's the word? You see, my
What's
man
up,
Jay
Brian?
Walk
What's
in
up,
here. He's
Brian?
super Trojan up right now. And
You already
he
know.
got USCJ lost in the sauce right now with the Trojan up stuff.
I'm trying to figure
Corey,
out
what's up? What's
what
up?
side to
Corey
wear it
said,
on.
bump the J. Jason, what's up? What's up? He
What
said,
up?
what's
What
up,
up?
bros? Francisco said, what's up, guys? Man, we got 17. They coming in quick. Listen, man, we want to kind of recap this game. Elder TD Lawrence, what's the word? How you doing this evening, sir? Jamie, what's going on? He says, what's up, Jay and J Walk?
What's up? What's up?
Listen, we want to talk about this. We had an opportunity to put our heads on the pillow last night after that stressful moment, and we woke up and we realized that, listen, USC has a great win last night. And as I reflected, of course, me and Jay Walk, we talked about it a little bit briefly last night, but we kind of want to deal with some of the things that transpired in the midst of the game, man. I mean, this was a incredible game. There's several things in my mind that I think benefited USC, and so we want to talk to Jay Walk about it a little bit and hear his perspective and see what his thought process was as it relates to the game. You guys know that me, man, I felt with the offensive side, I felt like the defense carried the offense. But Jay Walk, what's the word, my brother?
Whew, man. I lost about 4 or 5 dreads last night, and them joints just fell out. Hey, that's it. You said they had me lost in the sauce, man.
Man, we was lost in all the sauce.
Well, the thing that had me frustrated was
Keith, what's up, buddy?
what's up? What's up, big bro KB? The frustrating component about last night was I believe we struggled more than we needed to with basic execution.
Yeah,
And I'm going to actually say that's on both sides of the ball. It wasn't just offense. The defense did show up. I mean, we did our thing, but
yeah,
that was about as close as a playoff championship competitive environment
yeah,
and game as you can get for
yeah.
this early in the season. Some are already saying it's possibly the game of the year. We've already
Man,
heard
that
that.
was a game, man. Big time.
And you know what? That's good for the Pac-12. That's
Absolutely.
that's really good for the Pac-12 brand. It shows that we've always had these types of competitive inter interconference rivalries, but I feel like we struggled far more than we needed to in that
Hmm.
moment. But I was
Hmm.
very happy with how our team responded. I was happy with how the young men decided to lean on one another, and I was actually happy with how composed the coaches were. And I don't think that we got frantic with our decisions or our play calling. I don't think we did anything outside of ourselves. And the one thing that I took away more than anything is we won't fold. We
Right,
just
right.
on either side of the ball, and we are ridiculously conditioned.
Absolutely. And there's
Ridiculous.
several angles with this game that we can take. I see some of the comments coming in. So as the comments come in, I kind of want to address those. I see Brian Jenkins. He said, "Don't be so hard on Caleb Williams." He's talking to everybody in general. And then Oscar right behind him. Oscar says, even though Caleb Williams had a terrible game, he came through at the end. So you and I talked after the game. I kind of want to deal with that for a minute, speak to that because you said as a quarterback, you've seen some greats and you could just
Yeah,
name them that kind of went in those slumps, and they stayed there for a minute. Can you speak to that?
I absolutely can. So guys, my history is I played from '01 to '05 during our national championship tenures under Coach Pete Carroll. And in that time, my first quarterback was Carson Palmer. I got to play with him for 2 years. I saw him when we were 6-6, and we got slapped in the Vegas Bowl by the Utes, who we'll be playing those dudes real soon. Then the next season, I saw him win a Heisman.
Right.
You understand what I'm getting at?
Oh,
and
yeah.
Then to me, one of the best quarterbacks on our team was a guy who wasn't even getting reps. And you may have heard of him. His name is Matt Castle.
Yes.
He went in the 7th round, and he maybe had less than 20 snaps under center or at quarterback at USC.
Yes.
And then he went on to be the starting quarterback for the New England Patriots, as
Right.
well as the Kansas City Chiefs. So we had Castle, we had Leinart. Then he came in and immediately made an impact, won the Heisman. John David Booty, Mark Sanchez. I mean, I played with some legendary quarterbacks. And I'll tell you, the makeup, the DNA that Caleb Williams has, he has every ounce of the greatness of all of them. He has every ounce of the composure and the leadership. And it's that dog that's inside that just keeps things level. And he's like, just settle down. I got it. And what some might perceive as him being anti-reactionary or anti-social, or if you may think of him as keeping his head down, when actually I think he's having that internal self-dialogue of, I'm not where I need to be,
right.
but I know that I'm going to be who we need us to be in the moment. So
right.
all of the quarterbacks that I just mentioned, they all had slumps. They all had performances that
Caleb,
that we would say were terrible or beneath them, but we have high expectations for these people. But one thing that I will say, for most of you who don't realize what a pitch is on a football field, a pitch is like the end zones, where the 20s, they slope downward.
Yeah.
And in the middle of the field, it crowns up. So it's almost like you're on a baseball mound.
Yeah.
And you're throwing downhill when you're in the center of the field from like the 40s, the 240s. Yeah. In that gap, in that space, you're actually at the highest point of the field. So I can understand why when Caleb was rolling out, some of those balls, when he was letting them go, were diving down at the dirt.
Right.
And it was like, man, what's wrong with this dude? So he never played in that type of a stadium before, where you actually have to have a higher arch on your trajectory and in order for the ball to go straight. Because when you release the ball, you're high, but when the ball finishes, it's dead. And you can tell. And so if you were watching it from an outsider's perspective, you're like, man, he's throwing everything in the dirt. But remember, most of those dead passes were only happening when he was in the pitch.
Yeah.
And it's one thing to say, hey, let's prepare for that, but it's another thing to actually experience it, and your mechanics are off. So please recognize that. And I'm not going to make any excuses for him. I just want to give you guys some insight as to the things that these guys are overcoming.
Right. And you played on that field, right?
I played on that field.
And they made reference to that. They made reference to that in the media last night. They said if you're not used to that field, they said the exact same thing. They said you would kind of, you would be, it would be uneven and it kind of be awkward for you. So it probably through his whole trajectory was way off. I mean, he had no idea what was going on.
Definitely does.
But so I just kind of want to encourage.
Even their quarterback.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Even their quarterback struggled with it. That's why he let a couple of those balls get away from him. Throwing off the pitch, and they sailed too high. And so every player has to deal with those factors. So I'm not going to make any excuses. Sometimes that worked for us. But with regards to us judging Caleb's arm talent,
right?
No. He's remarkable. He's incredible. He's got composure. But guess what? He's a sophomore.
Yes.
He's a sophomore. And I don't think, is this what game is this for him? Is this even his 13th game yet?
Man, I think they said, I want to say, was it his 10th game? Mm-hmm. No, 11th game.
11th game.
Something like that. It wasn't, so, and that was somewhat of a hostile environment. And we'll talk about that too. On the way out, it looked like there was some things being thrown at him, kind of like your Auburn experience. And, they had to go up this little, I don't know, it was a weird looking little walkway, and they were throwing all kinds of stuff at the players, but on their way out as they exited. But so that was kind of the thing I wanted to kind of address first, because Caleb Williams, a lot of people felt like they weren't sure exactly what was going on with him. And he did look like he was off. But at the end of the day, let's just say this too. At the end of the day, these are young men. They view these things. Sometimes they view things, and we don't want to shed any negative light on any situation. At the end of the day, we want to push them forward and encourage them to be the best that they can be. And I believe, man, you see him turn it on at the end. I mean, he absolutely turned it on and was able to light light them up. And
He
Jordan
did.
Addison received it, man. So what's
He
your
did.
thoughts on that?
So it's all small to a giant.
Yeah,
Like, you cannot win the game in the third quarter, no matter how much of a deficit you're in.
yeah,
That game's not going to end until there's zeros on the board.
that's right. Yeah,
It just isn't. And so I could see the calmness and the resolve the entire game. And the
right.
truth is while we're talking about his arms, and he didn't do this and he didn't execute it, he didn't read the defense. Okay, he saw defense for the first time. He felt Pac-12 speed for the first time. And like I've been telling everyone, the
Right.
Pac-12 moves faster. I don't care what anybody says. I played against the bigs. I
Yes.
played against the Big 12s, the Big 10s. I played the ACC. I played the SEC. Nobody moves as fast as Pac-12 athletes.
Right.
And,
especially those skill players, man.
and that's why when you look at combines, the fastest players come out of the Pac-12.
Yes.
It's just true.
Yes.
You're always going to have that one or two dudes that runs really fast from the other conferences, but overall, the collective of Pac-12 athletes has greater NFL combine statistics that are beaming on the board.
Right.
That's a fact. It's undeniable.
Right. I think we've seen that with Jordan Addison and Mario, and I think it might have surprised them as well because it wasn't a normal separation as they would normally have as it relates to them running their routes. You've seen them kind of those guys, man. Those are some big time cornerbacks. Those guys went to the league.
They were.
You want to speak to that?
Shout out to them for executing, having they knew that Oregon State knew what they were getting into. Oregon State, they've been salivating. They were protecting an undefeated 7-8 game winning streak in their home stadium.
At home,
something along those lines, right? They wanted to beat USC back-to-back years for the first time in history, right? They beat us last year.
Yeah,
they were they knew what was on the line. They knew that had they won this game, they would be in the top 25. I think somewhere in the top 20.
Absolutely.
They would have jumped over a lot of. So you don't think that those boys played with every ounce of every drop of every bit?
They played so they never let up one bit at all.
They played their hearts out, and that was their best shot. That was their best. We didn't play our best,
right?
So if we can take the other team's absolute best
and play that bad on offense,
and we struggle as much as we did, and we come out with a victory like that, I am feeling very confident about what we're capable of when we're executing even at 60%.
Absolutely.
Our offense was below 50%.
Absolutely.
It was.
One of the things I talked to you about last night, I said, I told you today, I said that this win was necessary for us. It had to happen this way because we're going into another hostile. Not to overlook, we're not overlooking Washington State. We're not overlooking Arizona.
Not at all.
We're going into a hostile environment. Those games are at home. We're going into a hostile environment at Utah, and it's going to be something similar to that. And I think being able to have it here at Oregon State was absolutely, man, essential. And then to be able to win it the way we want it. Now we know that we got something, behind us. We got some fight in us. We already knew that, but it takes some time. It takes being down. We never fought from behind this year at all.
Never.
At all. You want to speak to that?
Absolutely. So playing from behind, it's a different mentality. It's a different level of urgency and execution that you have to muster up. Not only that, but it also reveals the character of your real DNA as a program.
Yes.
You can tell that these guys decided that they weren't going to fall down, fold. They weren't going to just roll over. And it felt really outstanding to see that type of, and I'm going to say this word again, that level of resolve, that fighting spirit that just said we won't be denied. And we recognize the importance of a moment like this. And it stemmed from the energy in that goal line stop from last week.
Yes.
They just kept that same energy.
Yeah.
The same energy that they had from that last play defensively, they rolled that swagger into this week. And that's exactly what we needed. Because the truth of the matter is, and one of my best friends and teammates, he said this when when I was a junior at SC. And Coach Carroll, we had a meeting and we were about to play the Beavers before that fall game. It was a classic game. And he goes, "Hey, Brandon Hancock, what can you tell me about Beavers?" And Brandon Hancock, he kind of looked around and he stood. He said, "Stand up. What do you know about Beavers?" And he said, "Well, Coach, they're the most diligent animal in the animal kingdom." And he says, and they use they use their little teeth to like chew through whatever it is they're trying to tear down.
Yeah.
And I said, "Oh my gosh, that's actually true. Beavers are known for their work ethic."
Yeah.
Beavers, like we can make jokes about it, but the fact of the matter is those guys fought with their hearts. And I believe that they would have beat more than 70% of the SEC teams had they played that game last night.
That's right.
I believe
I believe the same thing.
The level of physicality, the brutality of that game, the collision, it was high-speed collision all game long. And the truth is you never saw our guys shy away from contact. You never. We may have missed a few tackles, but the fact is we brought that boom boom.
Yeah.
And so did they. And they outweighed us by like pound for pound, player for player. They outweighed us by at least 7 to 15 pounds per player.
Yes.
Per position group. So I'm saying, see, give Coach Grinch.
We're gonna let's deal with that while you hit where we need to go.
Give Coach Grinch.
Let's hit where we need to go.
Hey man,
I'm gonna get some of these comments because it's in reference to that real quick. Oscar says, let's keep it real. The defense won the game. Number one in takeaways. And we talked about that earlier. Peter Rodriguez says, yes, the defense saved us. KB17, Big Keith said Oregon State has a fast team. Keith played against Oregon State as well. So let's deal with it. Let's deal with it. Coach Grinch, man, we have almost every video since I started this a few months back. Man, I've been having so many Oklahoma fans just so down on Grinch. They tell me, man, you're gonna regret that Grinch is your coach. You're gonna regret. And I did numbers a while back, and I said the Grinch from 2019 when he first got there to the 3 years prior to that, he improved Oklahoma's defense by 100 yards. And as a result, they got better. Were they just Alabama? No, but they did get better. And so I tried to argue that point, but they said that we were going to regret it here. But man, it seems like our defense, they really held the team down. And this scheme seems to be working. I talked to you about this earlier today. We're number one in the country in touchdowns with the interceptions. That's right. With the interceptions and efficiency and all that, man. So what you think about that?
We have the number one. We have the number one turnover defense in the country. We're in the top 10 in almost every statistical category except yards. We're in the top 20 in third down stops. The fact of the matter is as young as this defense is, these guys are playing like veterans who have already had championship experience.
Yes.
And defenses don't customarily digress in a season. They don't usually get worse unless there's some severe injuries or some really bad chemistry in the locker room or some type of controversy within the coaching staff. What I see is a bunch of guys buying in more and more and more, bringing more and more and more available bodies to join the fight. Like for example, Damani, he's in there.
Oh my goodness.
We can go on and on.
We can talk about Damani, man.
Correct. But here, let's talk about. They're talking about Oregon State secondary was so great.
Yes.
Both of our corners are NFL.
They ballers, man. They said about ballers.
Sierra Wright is a redshirt freshman, guys.
That's crazy.
Sierra Wright is a red shirt. This is his first year of playing football in college.
Yes.
Don't sleep on him.
Yes. He bought out. He has just really developed into something different, man. It's like I thought Josh Jackson, I think he was in there last night. He finally came off injury, but I actually thought Josh Jackson was going to actually be the starting corner, but Sierra Wright came out of nowhere
Listen,
and just grabbed it, man, and just really took this thing and ran with it.
that's the truth. I mean, the truth is the world is full of BS.
Yeah,
I'm just going the college voting, ranking, the narrative is all BS.
yeah,
It's BS, and I'm gonna tell you why.
yeah,
You can either buy into what they say about us as a defense, even as
yeah.
even as an offense. There is no such thing as an offense that's always on. No such thing.
Right.
Ever. The greatest offenses in the world usually have 2 or 3 games that they don't show up the way we expect them to.
Right.
Right. And that's where the whole team has to come in. It takes an entire effort. But what I'm getting at with regards to the BS of the world and the bias system, that's BS bias system where there's so favoritism to these other conferences versus what we're producing on this side of the country, the best coast, I'm gonna call it. Here's the deal. We have our own BS too.
Yes.
But we have a belief system, not bullshit.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm getting at? We don't buy into the bullshit that these people are trying to say we are. We're creating our own narrative. We have a belief system that we just don't fold. Right. No matter how bad it may look or feel to you, we just don't fold. We stop those dudes. Let me think. I'm trying to remember how many third downs we stopped them on. I think they only got like 5 third downs out of like 12 or something.
Right.
Think about that. And then they only converted 1 4th down out of the 2, I believe, that they attempted.
Yeah.
That's hugely efficient.
Absolutely.
That offense was scoring what?
40. They're ranked. We were ranked number. I think we ranked number 6. They're 43.5 points per game. That offense was scoring,
and we kept them under
10 points.
Well, they have 14. They have 14 points this game, right?
Yeah.
So they scored 2 touchdowns on us, right? Our defense combined this season has only given up how many touchdowns?
They haven't given up a lot of touchdowns. You look at Fresno State, 17 points. Rice, 14. 28 points to Stanford. So it's like, I'm totally there with you.
That's a stellar world-class defense that's combined with a very stellar world-class offense who are still learning how to play well together, who are still learning how to adapt to all the complexities of Pac-12 defenses. And I'm going to tell you, the Pac-12 offers the most diverse defensive schemes in the country.
Yes.
Because of all the hybrid style players. And I've mentioned that many times before.
Can you speak to that? Because they said that they were playing a zone, and it really kind of might have been some of the issues that confused Caleb as well.
They were playing man within zone. That is a hard concept to actually mimic in practice. And it's a hard concept to see consistently because it takes such intelligent and skillful defensive backs.
Yes.
It takes such chemistry and rapport and great communication with the secondary. And it takes almost like a very savvy veteran group, which the Beavers are. And that's why I believe they will have more success this season if they continue to use those concepts against really good pass-oriented universities. I can understand how you see a guy man for man with your receiver and you're like, great, I got a one-on-one matchup. And then when that receiver settles down, that defensive back actually keeps going and rolling to a soft spot on the field. And then another backer or another defensive back passes to the guy that was just what you thought was man.
Yeah.
And you're like, wait, is this man? He's running with him stride for stride. And then all of a sudden they pass him off.
Yeah.
That's very challenging.
Crazy. And that was crazy.
Man, I'm telling you, you can see Caleb trying to digest this in real time.
Because the receivers were open for a split second before they be passed off to another guy.
Right.
And so he was almost like he was hesitating in his mindset.
And I with rightfully so. If that's the very first time you've ever seen that type of a defense, look, name something that any of us can do wonderfully and execute at the highest level the very first time we do it. Like imagine, it's like trying to eat with chopsticks for the first time. You're like, I can't figure this out. But as you keep playing with those sticks, you get a little more comfortable. Your fingers
Yeah.
get a little more dexterous, and you like, okay, I can kind of, at least I can poke it and eat the thing. But what I'm getting at is, I'm glad that Caleb got to experience that this young in the season when his defense had his back. And then when he got a senior veteran running back that looked him in the eyes and says, just keep playing. Just keep playing, Captain. I got you. I got us. I got us. I had one of my inside scoops that's on the sideline. He said, "Hey man, Travis died from the sideline because I wasn't at the game, but he was." He said Travis Dye was walking up and down the sideline talking to all the position groups. We good. We good.
Yeah.
Hey, we got them where we want them. We got them where we want them.
Yeah.
And then he said, put it on my back. Put the ball in my hand. I got us. I'll ride us through. Dog.
Hey, man, Travis Dye been there. He's played against Oregon, man. I mean, Oregon State. So he understands. Yeah, absolutely.
He knows them. And he was our most consistent offensive weapon. So for that dynamic to be there, it just lets me know this is our fourth game of the season, everyone. Fourth game of the season. Our championship year in 2003. We had like 4 games like this. Our championship year, the next season, 2004 against Oklahoma, we had about 3 or 4 games just like this. My senior year, we had 4 games just like this. Notre Dame, Arizona State, Fresno State. I can tell you even one of those games. I'm trying to remember. Like, I don't know if it was Stanford, but they gave us way more than we bargained for.
Yeah. It might have been Cal or Stanford. I think
Cal,
Cal.
Marshawn Lynch. Thank you.
That's
what it was.
Yeah.
When Marshawn Lynch and Aaron Rodgers was lighting us up. Beast mode was out there running crazy. That's before we knew he was beast mode. But what I'm saying is, hey guys, don't act brand new. We've been here before.
And so that's a very important point, because if you got Reggie Bush, if you got Matt Leinart, if you got Lindell, you got Lightning the Thunder, you got all these guys, and they had issues with these teams. I mean, sure enough, this team is going to have issues. So sometimes, I thank God for the success, and we're happy that we got the success. But it's important for us as fans and people looking on the outside looking in, that we don't get lost in the sauce and get too overzealous as it relates to just the Grinch and the coaching and Caleb, because man, all these teams every team is going to, we're number 6 in the country now. Every team is going to bring the best that they got. Every single week is going to probably darn near be like this,
This is how it's going to be. This is the murderer's row. It's a gauntlet of everybody's very best human efforts. You are foolish to believe that we are just going to steamroll everyone. That's not how college football is designed. It just isn't. Look at Alabama versus Texas. Was that the first week of the season? Second week? Alabama versus Texas, where Alabama was supposed to destroy them. And technically they lost that game. And the refs
they lost the game.
but why don't we hear all this Alabama?
It's the bias
about us. You understand where I'm coming from?
Oh, I know. I know where you're coming from. I go absolutely berserk about this issue here.
So Alabama's allowed to struggle early in the season, but we aren't.
Yeah,
guys, we just got to keep playing ball. There's something that we say, it starts with an F, and the other word starts with an O, and it's fight on.
Yeah.
No matter what. That means we push. And this regime, these coaches, these players, they understand and recognize how to push. Pushing it's an acronym for we persevere until success happens. PUSH. And we just gonna keep pushing. It takes collective faith. It takes the community, the USC body, to keep putting positive energy, change the narrative. You have control of your keyboard. Instead of spitting out your fears and your doubts and manifesting them in typing and texting, say, I'm proud of these young men.
Absolutely.
I'm proud of the Trojan family. I love to see what these guys are doing. It's not about, Caleb played bad. According to who Caleb played bad?
Right.
Caleb played physical. He avoided 7 sacks, guys.
Yeah.
In what world can you punish a kid for avoiding 7 sacks?
Yes. No turnovers. He has no turnovers this year.
Guys, he
No
avoided
fumbles.
where
Yeah.
they had his jersey and he
Yes.
got free and made a positive or break even play out of nothing. Listen, Albert Einstein, I posted this on my story today, and it represents the energy of the USC body right now. Albert Einstein wrote an equation to his students, and he wrote all the 9 times tables. 9 times 1, 9, 9 times 2, 18, so forth and so on. Then he got down to 9 times 10. That's to be 90, correct? But he wrote 91. Then he wrote 9 times 11, 99. So all of them were correct except the one. So his students are laughing and they're snickering and ridiculing him and like, that's our teacher and all this. And so he looks at the students and he goes, what, is there a problem? And they go, duh, 9 times 10 is not 91, bro. 9 times 10 is 90. You're supposed to be our professor. You're supposed to teach us. How could you get that wrong? And he goes, oh, yes, you're right. 9 times 10 is 90. He goes, but you guys ridiculed me for all of, okay, I got one wrong, but look at all the other ones. I got 11 of them correct.
Right.
I got one wrong. And you're judging me for the one I messed up on, but I was successful 90% of the way. And you're judging me on the one I got wrong.
Absolutely.
Oh, okay. I guess that's how society is built. You're judging them on the couple of mistakes when really they played a masterful full game from kickoff. From kickoff to when that horn blew. Those young men never stop fighting. Ever.
Absolutely.
There was not one time that they quit. No one.
Absolutely.
So we understanding that and being higher level thinkers, higher level individuals, and I'm challenging us all, have collective faith. Get on these message boards and start speaking positively about what we're continuing to manifest.
Yeah.
Don't feed into the hype of it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel right. Let's look at the end product and the end result and give these kids their roses. And I need to stop calling them kids. Give these young men their roses. But I feel like they're already dealing with so much judgment all the time. You don't think Caleb is already judging himself?
Right.
Why are we gonna add more adversity than this young man needs to deal with? Because he's the chosen one and he's the quarterback. Look, he has goals in his life just like everyone else. How would you like it if we all went to your occupation and started to nitpick when you didn't do what you were supposed to do at the high level?
Right.
Hey, you didn't staple that paper all the way through, and when I grabbed it, I poked myself. Or hey, when I picked up the folder, all the things fell out because you didn't close the binder. Or you misspelled this in your email. Come on, guys.
Absolutely.
And guys, I'm not beating y'all up. I'm talking to myself because I was fussing, bro.
Absolutely.
I was fussing their butts out all night.
And I said, and that's one of the things when I came on, I said, as we have some time to reflect, we got to understand at the end of the day that these young men, they are human beings, and so we want to keep that in proper perspective and understand. And Caleb, man, he's a professional. He's getting paid like one too, by the way.
He is.
He's already a professional.
And look how hard he fought. Tell me he quit. Tell me.
Yeah.
Tell me.
No, he didn't quit. And that last throw, it looked like. I mean, the last throw, it looked like it was exactly what you needed. The on point, precise where it needed to be. And man, we just seen it was good. And man, I'm telling you, I could have said hallelujah.
And let me tell you guys, they were in cover 2. That is considered an impossible route in cover 2.
Yeah.
It's impossible because the safety is over the top and the corner is shadowing the receiver until he passes him to the safety. So the fact that Jordan Addison knew that safety is screaming 100,000 miles an hour like a heat-sinking missile.
Yeah.
This man, and they showed his eyes as he was tracking the ball, knowing very well that his body was on the line.
Yeah.
Caleb knowing very well that safety is right there. He zipped that thing in like I
Super
can't.
quick.
I have to just pin this tail on the donkey right
Right
now.
there.
Boom.
And
And
Addison, man, with those hands though, because Brandon Rice got a ball earlier on like that too, but he caught it, but he bobbled it.
he bobbled it.
I said, Caleb, man, this guy be throwing some missiles, man.
Laser beams.
I mean, just laser.
Laser beams. So
So
that's what we have. These young men are still developing. Every single game is another rep, another step, another breath closer to them reaching their ultimate goals, which is I know that in that locker room, they are talking championships. They're not
absolutely,
talking, but they know that each week is a championship game. Each week is a championship game, and that's what they can control.
yes.
Please, so if there's anything we can do is not add doubt to a bunch of young men who everybody is telling them that they're fake, that they're not the real deal.
Absolutely.
Reinforce them so that they know who they're playing for.
Absolutely.
Reinforce them so that they take that collective energy and the spirit of Troy with them into battle. Because that's what we are. We are SC.
Yes.
We are SC.
Absolutely. And one of the things that kind of struck me, because I've kind of observed Lincoln Riley from a distance, when he was at Oklahoma for a long time, and I kind of watched different games that he played at, different stadiums that he played at. I really recall him playing at Tennessee, and it was a hostile environment. They were down like 14. They took Oklahoma there, and man, Lincoln Riley never wavered. And I seen it in his eyes. He had that same type of look in his eyes, and his body language stays the same. And it's like he's locked in. He's dialed into exactly what he wants to do. And even though we were down, I think he just felt comfortable where he was at, and he's able to stay focused. And you want a commander in chief that's going to be able to command the ship like that, man. What's your thoughts on Lincoln?
I love him. He took so much responsibility and accountability after that game. He said, I have to put our guys in some more favorable positions. He said, I take it upon myself to write up the designs to help us be successful. And you know what? I talked to my defensive coordinator, and I'm telling him, like, you got to get this done.
Yes.
And that's the type of relationship I like, vulnerability and real, genuine. I like the humanity behind it, where you can say, I'm in this just as much as you are.
Yes.
I'm not blaming you in any regard. I'm telling you that we are in this whole thing together. We are in this entire journey together. And that's what we got with our head coach. And the truth of the matter is he's never had to game plan against defenses like this.
Right.
Hey, baby. Listen, man. No matter what the media wants to say about what we bring to the Pac-12, from the Pac-12 into the college football world, it's so much skill.
Mm-hmm.
It's guys who you don't even know these dudes' names.
Right.
They are amazing football players.
Right.
And if their conference got more love, they would be the first and second and third round draft picks that you would hear about.
Yes.
It's the fact that we don't get the same media. We don't get the same media coverage. Our conference hasn't had the same level of respect over the last 15 years as most of the other conferences out there. But it's designed that way. It truly is.
Right.
The college football system is very East Coast biased. It just is. All the people calling the shots are all on that side of the country. They get the best time slots for media coverage, everything. The fact that we're in California does help USC. But here's what I'm going to get at. Coach Riley is going to become a stronger coach coaching in this conference.
Absolutely.
The fact that he had to game plan for these types of teams, he's going to take that energy into the big conference in a couple of years.
And it's going to be slowed down when he go over there.
And he's going to be three steps ahead of him.
Way ahead, man. Way ahead. And so yeah, man, that's great insight on that. But let's talk about Damani, man. It's one player in particular. Earlier this year, his name is Solomon Byrd. When I seen him, even though he came in, I think he was fourth string. He was fourth string, but he came in the game and he made an impact. And when he got on the field, I said, wait a minute. You could kind of see that it factor. The way he just had the dog in him, the way he approached it was totally different from everybody, from other guys, not to bash anybody. And when I seen Damani the other day, when he got in there, I mean, it was only two plays I seen him at, I think, but one of them was the first, early on in the first quarter, a receiver caught the ball and he closed the gap so fast and made a tackle. And the other one, he was on the end zone, went in the end zone, kind of trailed the receiver.
That's
And
right. It
man,
was a trick play.
yeah, his play on the ball was just, I said, he looks different.
Yeah.
I mean, did you have that same feeling when you looked at him?
Oh yeah, I've watched him for 3 years at Modern Day. So
Yeah,
I live about 25 minutes from there, so I can go
yeah,
see their games very, very consistently.
yes.
The one thing I knew about Damani was, he's starving. He was actually penciled in, I believe, as our starter in the beginning of fall camp.
Yeah.
So let's really keep that into perspective. It's been an injury that has kind of kept him out. Him and Sierra were in a battle.
Yeah.
For that position. So I knew he was capable. And Damani has a big athletic frame. He's world-class track speed. He runs
10 to 100.
That was as a junior. I
Yeah.
believe his highest upside is 10-1 for sure. As a senior, with another year in the weight room, another year in speed. Had he not hurt himself, he was a 10-1 guy, and I believe a repeat state champion. Now, here's the thing about Damani is they gave him a taste, just like Raleek. Raleek and Damani are cut from the same cloth.
Same cloth, man. They are, man.
And there's another guy in there who was out there battling too. His name's CJ Williams.
CJ Williams, yeah.
These three dudes, and there's a guy that's resting and recovering named Jude Wolf.
Oh yeah.
I'm trying to tell y'all something.
Yeah.
We got a squad, and Damani is the type of guy that will be starting at some point this year.
Hey man, he just looks so much. He looks fluid. His movements are just fluid, and he just looks so like a natural. But his size with the speed,
he doesn't shy away from contact. He's not afraid to. He's not afraid to lay his hat.
Yeah. And so, I mean, at least we got to look forward to next year. We're gonna have Sierra Wright, Damani Jackson on one side, on both sides, man. I mean, we losing Makai, but man, those two guys, man, I think the cornerback position is gonna be secure. Of course, you got Fabian Ross and some other people, but
man, we got some other guys. I mean, it's going to be very competitive. When these guys, when they're young, it takes a lot, and sometimes the coaches have to talk to these guys like, "Hey, look, you might get 20 to 30% of the snaps this year if you play.
Yeah,
if we redshirt you have an opportunity to start next season, right? So there's always that like you're trying to figure out what you want, how well you want to contribute.
Yeah.
So it's a tough business. It is, but I'm telling you, we have depth all across the chart in every position.
Every position, man. Every position.
As this season, we have a lot more depth.
Amen. Hey, so look, one thing that I thought about too, when you look at Sierra Wright, when you look at Thule, when you look at Caleb Bullock, of course Nick Figueroa, when you look at some of the other guys, Julian Simon, all these guys that have been here, Randall Gopher, my thing is like, these guys all of a sudden look good, and I think that speaks to development. I think in the little bit of time that they had with these players, these guys have been developed, because we talked about Sierra Wright. We talked about Thule. Well, Thule already, he was already coming on last year. But it's like all of a sudden these guys look like these are guys that's already been here. Most people speak to the transfer portal as the major impact players, which they are. But we got some guys that's already been here that are making some things happen. What's your thoughts on that?
That's what makes this the most unique and diverse roster in the country. This is by far the most diverse.
Yeah.
This is truly. It's like a very calculated science project.
Yeah.
Like football science project. I mean, it really is taking this nucleus from this program, this nucleus from this conference, this type of guy, and then mostly more than the athlete, I think that they recruited the human. They recruited the player, the person, because that person needed to buy in. And I want to commission you guys to just take this into your spirit. And I'm feeling led to speak on it this way. One of the things that makes this team really special, regardless of how we continue to do this season, who knows? Nothing is guaranteed in athletics. If we lose the rest of them, if we win the rest of them, if we win one, lose, whatever it is, the one thing that's really special and unique about this team and why I'm in love with this team is every one of these guys chose to be here.
Yes.
When the staff got dismantled and all of those players had access to leave, they had freedom to go wherever they wanted. The ones that came in from the portal and everywhere else in the country, those guys made a conscious decision to choose to be a part of this project.
Yeah.
And that's what makes this really special, is I think that anchors them on all three phases of the ball, and they can look at each other and look at one another in the eye and say, we chose this. We decided to do this together. So we don't need to fall apart. We don't need to lean on what other people's opinions are, or believe in the hype of a frantic situation if it gets bad, or believe in the super high of a really good emotional situation. We just need to lean on each other and remember the thing that binded us from the beginning is the fact that all of us as young men collectively said our destinies are supposed to be intertwined together. We're going to walk this path together. We're going to walk it no matter what, good, bad, ugly, and everything in between.
Right.
And we are going to be together. We're choosing to forge this part of our life together.
Absolutely.
No matter what happens. And you can see that.
And you can hear it. Yes. Yes.
See and feel that.
Yeah.
And so when they look at each other in the eye, you don't see the resentment and like the other things you would see in a few seasons past. Right. So that's why I believe these coaches are able to develop them. Just to bring it back to your question. That's why the coaches can actually bring the most out of the players, because they made a conscious decision to be here.
Right.
To stay and fight and do this thing the right way when they first dreamt about it. The ones who stayed on the program. And
absolutely.
And now you got coaches who are actually taking enough time to say, somebody didn't teach you the way you could have learned. Please allow me this access into your mind, your body, and your spirit to give you some of my experiences, some of my wisdom. And if you choose to take that, I'm just a GPS system. I can't play the game for you. I can't drive the vehicle for you, but I sure can give you the right direction. And you choose if you want to follow that route.
Absolutely.
You're in the driver's seat, and these coaches are like a great GPS system. Hey, I can give you the suggestion based on my track record, my wisdom. I can tell you do it this way, you get there faster. If
absolutely.
You do it your way, you might get a positive result, but that journey might take you a little bit longer.
Absolutely.
And I can teach you the shortcuts too that are healthy and legal, and the ones that will lead you to success. So that's why there's buy-in. That's why the players can improve from week to week to week, and we have not digressed as a defense. We have not. They keep saying they can't keep getting those turnovers. They can't keep making
man, every game. It's like, wow, it's incredible.
Who says that we can't? These athletes don't believe we can't. The world is telling them that they can't, but they keep saying, hey, we can do all things through Christ who strengthens us.
There you go. Absolutely.
And that's just what it is.
And that's what it is in a nutshell. Half-breed, man, I appreciate you, man. Half-breed says, come on in. He says, be here or beware. Half-breed always, man, he's one of those guys. I'm gonna answer some of these questions.
Let's go. Let's talk to the people. What's up, people?
Brian Henley, he says, USCJ, how you doing? And Mr. Walker, just joined the show and had to work. How about that game? Oh man. Brian, man, that game was, we're talking about it, man. Hey, first of all, thank you for coming in after work, man. Really appreciate you taking your time out. That game was unbelievable, man. I mean, it was absolutely unbelievable. You know, I was stressed out. I told him last night I was stressed out for a minute, but I went to sleep and I feel better, Brian. I was lost in the sauce. Jay, what you think?
Man, I'm telling you, brother, my wife was watching the game with me and she said, look here now, if you're going to keep fussing at the TV, I can't watch. You're going to make me stressed out. I'm like, and I'm fussing at him.
Well, Jay Walk, I think I told you, man, my wife came downstairs and I said, she started saying something, man. I said, look, leave me alone. We cannot talk right now. I can't. I gotta focus. I mean, it's some stuff going on, right? It's a major situation. Leave me alone.
Hey, he hit her with the Michael Jack. Just leave me alone. Just stop dogging me around.
Hey, man. So Brian, man. Hey, we got through it, man. Caleb came through. The defense came through, and man, it was a beautiful thing, man. I'm gonna get to some more of these comments real quick. Oscar. He said, hit that like button. B Hunter said, Jaywalk, a real one. Digital asset. What's with Corey? Now, I thought Corey wasn't there at first, but I did see him take some pictures, so I guess he was there. But I'm not sure if he even got on the field. Did you see Corey at all?
Corey was there. He got in spurts.
Okay.
In spurts. And I understand why.
Yeah.
Right? I understand why. That could be a whole later show, another conversation. It's a little bit to unpack.
Yeah.
But a guy like Corey really learns from a game like that.
Absolutely.
And sometimes you learn way more by being the observer than the participant.
Absolutely.
And you know what? Sometimes a lack of activity can create the hunger that's required for you to actually hit that ascension. Because when you starve a dog, you give him food and he kind of like, nibbles on it. Like, I don't like the way this tastes, but I eat it because I'm hungry, right? And then eventually you don't feed him for a day or two. It doesn't matter what you put out there.
Yeah.
He gonna eat.
Yeah.
So I believe that Corey is in a really huge developmental phase mentally and emotionally. And it is my faithful belief that he is graduating from hungry to greedy.
Absolutely.
And I feel like next week he's going to snap. Because he didn't get to eat like I'm sure he wanted.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's what's required. When you take something from someone, then they realize how much it matters to them and how much they want it and require it. Yeah, I think at ASU.
Yeah.
I think they're in
He'll
trouble.
get some run. He'll definitely get some run.
I think they're in trouble.
And I think being behind Solomon Byrd is a good example of somebody, show him how to play that position.
That's right.
And he's a senior guy as well.
That's right.
Some of these other comments, and we're gonna wrap it up. We've been going 51 minutes. 8-Ball LA Mate says the culture has definitely changed at SC, and the recruits, players, coaches, and opponents all recognize that. Absolutely. Glenn, man, that's my man Glenn. Glenn is over in Glenn, are you in Indonesia or are you the Philippines? I can't remember. You're in the Philippines, I think. Glenn, he says, he says I was cussing too much during the game. Everyone left me alone in the house. Glenn, we don't want you to cuss, man.
Hey, Glenn,
we don't want you to do that, man.
Stop all that cussing, bro. Stop all that cussing, Glenn.
Glenn, type in where you at, Glenn. Is it the Philippines or Indonesia? I can't remember which one. Anthony Johnson, USCJ. If Texas played Bama so close, DKR and Austin, how would USC do against Bama in the college? I'm gonna let you answer that, Jay.
I believe we would be very competitive, and we would shock them. We would shock them with our team speed and our physicality. We. I sound like I'm from France. We. So as it's like I'm out there playing, I'm saying we. Look, like I'm still out there. Like we know what we're doing. Listen, this team understands. This team knows the assignment. If you haven't recognized it by now, this squad doesn't care how big you are. They don't care how much size you have. They don't care about the uniform or the symbol on your helmet or your chest. They don't care what color uniform you wear or what part of the country you're from.
Yeah.
They don't care.
Yeah.
These Trojans want all the smoke.
Yeah, all of it, man.
I'm telling you, they want all the smoke.
All of it.
I'm going to make this bold proclamation right now. What is it? September 25th. It's Sunday. Coach Lincoln Riley is winning Coach of the Year.
Oh, man. Yeah, I love it, man. And guess what? I'm going to even go as far as say this. Alex Grinch going to get defensive coordinator of the year. hey, you keep getting those takeaways. You're the defensive coordinator of the year, man. I mean, hands down, man. And I totally agree with you. Glenn says, I'm in the Philippines. He says, love you. Fight on, my man, Glenn.
Love you as well.
And we're gonna wrap it up. Half-Breed, man, I appreciate you again. He says, Half-Breed says, our two kings giving knowledge. Thank you, King.
Oh, thank
B
you.
Hunter, man, Half-Breed, my guy, man. He's always every video. B Hunter, last night game had me sweating. Hey, man, look, it had me sweating, crying, anxiety. I didn't want to talk to anybody, man. Do you hear me? Nobody. Anthony, what's up, my man? He said, oxygen, please. Touchdown, USC. He says, had to hit the blood pressure machine. All of us, man, we were all in that same position. Oscar, he says, question. He says, who are the next two big commitments that will land that we will land? Well, I think Elijah Page Friday, he's coming to visit Friday. He's the 4-star offensive lineman that just decommitted from Notre Dame. I think he's going to be the next commitment. I think he's going to commit after this Friday when he comes. We play Arizona State. He's going to be there, and I think he's already gravitated toward USC. So that's my thoughts on that. I think he's getting ready to commit. What you think, Jay Walk?
I double down on that. Yeah. I second that as well. And in terms of our very next ones, yes. But there's some in the pipeline, brother.
Yeah. We're still waiting on Deuce Robinson. I mean, we're still waiting on a couple other guys, man. So we'll wait to see how that goes. Digital access. Jay Walk and Jay, what's the under over for the turnovers by the defense this year?
I believe at the beginning of the season, I figured we would, if we played the right way with regards to how this defensive system works, I thought we would be able to get 24 to 25. Like if you played it right?
Yeah.
And when I say turnovers, there's multiple ways, but how we get the ball back. And I consider like squid punts, fumbled muff punts, kickoffs, also onside kicks. I consider all those turnovers. So I was thinking in a whole course of a season, we would definitely be able to get 24. It's my belief that we'll finish the season with over 30, and I think we'll lead the nation by far.
Yeah. I think we on our way right now. I mean, we right there, man. So yeah, man, I definitely agree. 8-Ball, LA Mo, LA May, he says, great show, fellas. Facts over feelings.
Facts over feelings. That's a cool name. I'm gonna just tell you like it is. That's a cool name.
So, man, look, it's been almost an hour, so we try to keep it under an hour. But listen, we appreciate everybody. First, we appreciate J-Walk, man. J-Walk always takes out the time. We appreciate him for coming through, man. And listen, man, we appreciate everybody for coming in. We had about 102 in here. And so, look, Anthony Johnson, USCJ, you think we're going to get Lamb Mateo? Man, I think it's leaning toward that. I think he's going to be here this weekend. I think he's going to be at the game this weekend, if I'm not mistaken. I thought I heard something like that. But
if I see him, I'm gonna grab him. Hey, come here, let me talk. Come on, let me talk to you.
Yeah. I think it was something I was reading. I can't remember what it was, but I think, let's look at this. The coach, Sean Nua, man. I mean, he's a proven fact. I mean, he had a guy that just got drafted in the first round, and over at Michigan, Aiden Hutchinson. And so I think, man, he's a great guy to work with, man. And I think we got an opportunity here. So, we'll see what happens. I think he's done taking his trips, if I'm not mistaken, if that's what I just read. And he may be coming to visit USC. So, look, you guys continue to like, share, subscribe. USCJ32 on Instagram, USCJ32 on Twitter. J-Walk, where can they find you at?
Man, the only real platform I mess with is Instagram currently until USCJ and I create our live show, our podcast, or whatever we're going to do. We're in the kitchen right now cooking up the recipe.
Man, we cooking it up, man. Hey, and it ain't spaghetti sauce either, man.
It's still ain't no SpaghettiOs. It's gonna have some meat and potatoes in it. Look, we're gonna have. I'm telling you, we have some really great Trojan alum from the past lined up to be our live guests on some of our shows. But what we need you guys to do is continue to help USCJ's page grow. And then when we hit this thing, man, the goal is we're not here to take part. We want to take over.
Yeah, there you go.
we're here to take over.
The takeover.
That's a great Trojan takeover.
The takeover. You just named it.
Hey, if y'all like that, throw up the dishes. Hey, man,
the takeover
is for victory, baby. The V is for victory.
Absolutely. So, man, hey, Anthony Spears, we're going to get out of here. Anthony said, cook it, brothers. He said, cook it. Look, Anthony's a good guy, man. So, look, L.A. Holmes, L.A. Jason Holmes. Hey, Brian, we appreciate you. He said, L.A. What did he say? He said, no duck sauce either. All right, man. We appreciate you. Look, hey, until tomorrow, you guys, I'm going to bring some recruiting updates. Everybody fight on, fight on, fight on. Appreciate J-Walk for coming through. You guys have a blessed good night. And until tomorrow, we'll talk to you later.
Yes,
God
sir.
bless.
Hey, shoot me the victory sign on my Instagram, John Walker Pro. I want
John
to know
Walker
you.
Pro, half breed. I appreciate you. The Trojan takeover. I appreciate it.
Want to know you.
Big Key. Big Key.
Yeah,
John Walker Pro. John Walker Pro on Instagram.
That's right. That's right. Blessings, guys.
Fight on, fight on, fight on.
Happy Victory Sunday.